This week in Boomtown, a new and faster way to get around Central Ohio. We're talking bus rapid transit.
I wouldn't say bus rapid transit's always going to be faster than the car, but I think we really strive for it being equivalent to the car.
How well will it really work? We traveled more than 100 miles to find out. Plus, Hilliard feeling the growing pains of a booming city. 300 new homes approved this week, but will a quiet street become a traffic nightmare? And from golf course to safe haven.
It's really a breath of fresh air for the parents. Just have a safe refuge place to drop the kids off.
How a former country club became a lifeline for hundreds of Ukrainian refugees in Central Ohio, and why they chose this region over others. Central Ohio is booming. We all see it and we can all feel it. Whether it's traffic, new homes, or crowded schools, leaders in this region will have to figure out how to embrace 700,000 more people in the coming decades. So here's what we uncovered this week in Boomtown. Thanks for joining us for This Week in Boomtown. I'm Doug Petcash in for Angela Ann this week. We have a lot to get to, but first, let's start with some headlines. The May primary election is just over a month away, and one township says it may have to close a fire station if the levy on the May ballot doesn't pass. To save money while meeting the growing demand, the Franklin Township Fire Chief says he is going to have to lay off 10 of his 39 firefighters by July. This after a levy failed on the November ballot. He says if layoffs happen, they will have to close one of the township's 2 fire stations, meaning it could take longer to get to emergencies when seconds matter.
We don't have the funding to maintain that staffing level, so we have to put trucks out of service when we don't have the staffing to keep them. Very painful, very painful. And it stinks in a community like ours that's so reliant on 911 and the 911 service.
The levy will be back on the ballot this May. If it passes, you will pay just over $500 a year for each $100,000 of appraised property value. Also on the May ballot, the Delaware County Library is looking for a $1 mil property tax levy. If passed, it would raise taxes by $35 for each $100,000 of your home's value. The library director tells us the money would help expand their operating hours, increase their services, and upgrade their buildings that have not been improved since the 90s.
The way the community has grown, the way the library has grown, we have to be able to better accommodate the users that are using our facility.
The director says the county library has not passed a levy since 2009. He says if this one does not pass, there could be major cuts and changes in the near future. People in Central Ohio will soon have a new and faster way to get around. It's paid for by your tax dollars. In November, voters approved a 0.5% sales tax increase. That money will pay for 3 bus rapid transit lines. We wanted to know more about how well bus rapid transit actually works. So 10 TV's Colin Dorsey drove more than 100 miles across state lines to find out. And here's what he found.
The rapid transit portion of Link Us is to make getting around on those a bit faster, but it's still a couple years off in the future, so we got in the car and hit the road. And we headed west, here to Indianapolis, where they've had rapid transit for several years, and it got us a chance to look at what does and doesn't work. Getting on this bus was as easy as scanning my phone and walking on, but I started a timer to see just how fast it really is.
We set our speed. We don't have to slow down when a slow car gets in front of us. We don't have to change lanes. So I think you feel the efficiency when you're on it.
Indianapolis's public transit system, Indigo, has 2 rapid transit routes with a 3rd on the way. These extra long bendy buses get a lane of their own, picking up passengers in the middle of the street.
This intersection, they're going to go ahead and get the right of way, and we wait. But there are occasions where the bus will go through and the cars wait on us.
Unlike traditional bus lines, rapid transit has the perks of fewer stops and priority at intersections, in theory, speeding up the ride. Our trip was about 4 miles on the city's Purple Line. From where we got on to where we got off at Post and 38th took just 11 minutes, and that's without the stop-and-go traffic and all the intersections. If you had to walk that, it would take the average paced walker about an hour and a half. Some riders say rapid transit is a big improvement.
10-15 minutes run, so yeah, a lot of the other buses run 30 minutes, 45 minutes. They definitely are a lot faster.
For others,
you stop a lot, so it makes it like time slows down and you might be a little late for work.
it still stops too much, but it beats paying for a cab.
What are some of the hurdles that you faced?
I sat down with one of the people behind the project, Indigo President and CEO Jennifer Peers.
The red line was really challenging for us, especially the people that lived along the route or worked along the route, to sort of trust us to build what we said we were going to build.
The red line was the city's first rapid transit line. Between that line and the newer purple line, they found some improvements that needed to happen. Ways to make the buses get closer to the stations, speed up stop times, and reduce costly maintenance on the island stations.
Has Indianapolis's bus rapid transit really driven some development in the city?
Absolutely, and it's interesting because it's happening before the lines are even built. So the red line was our first line, and that one, people weren't so sure.
Along the purple line, this grocery store now fills a void in what was once a food desert. Goodwill has a job center, and there's also a health clinic, all a few steps away from a stop on the line.
I wouldn't say bus rapid transit's always going to be faster than the car, but I think we really strive for it being equivalent to the car.
Indianapolis is working on finishing its third and final line, the blue line. That line is expected to be done in 2027 or 2028. That's the same time the Columbus's first rapid transit line is expected to be done, the Broad Street Corridor. In Indianapolis, Colin Dorsey, 10 TV News.
LinkUs is a lot more than bus rapid transit. You'll also see new sidewalks, bike lanes, and trails across central Ohio. Money will be spent to improve bus stations and create or improve 14 bus lines as well. The goal is to cut down on traffic congestion and create new ways to get around. And Colin joins me now to talk more about this. So Colin, have these rapid transit lines been popular in Indianapolis?
Yeah, they really have. And I think we can look at COVID numbers when talking about this. Indigo says that they have been incredibly popular. And just like COTA here in Columbus, COVID was catastrophic to public transit, and they saw their numbers drop. But they said that even through COVID, ridership on their red line, which was their first line, still remained their leading line. It was their highest ridership and still is their highest ridership.
So I guess the big question then is, are these faster?
Well, I asked Indigo that very question because I think that's something that a lot of people are concerned about. Why would I take something if it's not just as fast or at least pretty close? And Indigo says it's a yes and no. Yes, rapid transit buses are faster than standard buses. They don't have to make all of the stops that you have on standard buses. They get their own lanes, so they're able to just kind of breeze by traffic. But they're still a bus. They do have to make stops. So that does kind of slow them down compared to cars. They might be pretty close, just as you saw there that, I mean, it took us 11 minutes to go 4 miles. Yeah. So, I mean, it's still pretty quick, but it's dependent on the time of day, how many people are at the stops. So, yes and no.
So relative to regular bus routes, it is faster, maybe not.
Right, just as fast as hopping in your car.
Okay. And, what about building in Columbus? Did you get some insight from Indigo about the challenges they face or faced?
Yeah, so, of course, this project in Indianapolis started almost a decade ago now. And I asked them, what would you offer suggestion-wise to a city like Columbus that's trying to get this underway? And they said one of the biggest challenges and hurdles they faced in just getting this off the ground was getting the communities that they were putting these into to believe in what they were doing. Okay. That red line was the first one. And Indigo says that, this was a massive undertaking. It's a big promise to say, we're going to put this almost light rail-like bus in your neighborhood, and it's going to bring faster transit and stuff like that into your neighborhood. And people kind of raised an eyebrow at that, but they said once they got that first line up and running, getting the second line, that purple line going, was so much easier because people saw what they were able to do with that red line and followed through with the promises.
So the proof is in the pudding, basically, and then they could get the buy-in that way.
Exactly.
All right. Colin, thank you very much. Great insight into what's going on in Indy compared to what could be happening here.
Yeah.
Thank you. This week, the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission held its State of the Region event in Columbus. The theme of this year's event was Growing Stronger Together by Building a Thriving Region. But get this, from their latest report, 73% of communities in Central Ohio say affordable housing is their top concern.
People are looking for ways that they can have different types of housing for their kids, for their colleagues. We're looking at solutions community by community, whether it's zoning changes or working with builders, working with companies to help solve that problem.
This week, we learned of a new $400 million affordable housing project in Columbus. The project will bring more than 1,200 units to 3 locations in the city. Franklin County is giving more than $37 million to help make this happen. Franklin County Commissioner Erica Crawley says they're hoping to make these properties deeply affordable, meaning 30 to 60% of average median income.
Teachers, we're talking about firefighters, we're talking about police officers, those who make, low to medium wage jobs.
Crawley says they are still in the design phase of the project as they wait for more funding to come through. The other projects involved are a revamp of Latitude 525 on Sawyer Boulevard and a new development on Norton Road. This week, Hilliard City Council approved a development that will add 300 homes to the city's west side. It's called Hill Farm. But as council passed the project, community members handed in a petition of 300 neighbors opposing it. They're concerned that the road connecting the development to the downtown area cannot handle the traffic and will make it dangerous for neighborhood children. So this week, 10 TV's Carla Rogner spoke to council members and learned how the city is trying to meet them in the middle. Here's what she found out.
On hundreds of acres, MI Homes now has the okay to build 300 houses on the west side of Hilliard. But neighbors like Don Wagner worry about how much traffic it could bring to Jefferlin Road.
My children go through that street to go to the park and travel to friends' houses along that street.
Wagner, one of several neighbors voicing concerns that more traffic will be unsafe for neighborhood children.
Tonight was us again with 300 plus signatures saying we don't want this connection.
In response, council voted to continue with the Jefferlin Drive expansion, but only open it to emergency vehicles for now.
Do you feel that what council voted on to keep it open only for emergency personnel for now is a fair way to meet those concerned neighbors in the middle?
Yeah, it was a compromise.
Councilman Les Carrier is committed to finding safe ways to open the road.
I think we get those traffic studies in the right places. We keep listening to the feedback of the residents.
But Wagner is unsure about the compromise.
Well, obviously not completely safe. We don't want it at all. So this is going to just delay what's going to happen potentially for 2 or 3 years.
But like many suburbs in Central Ohio, Hilliard is growing, and Carrier says more homes are needed.
I saw no reason to say no, and we need the housing. It's that mid-tier housing, where it's affordable yet new and nice. So yeah, I thought it's great.
Now that the project has been approved, the city plans to start studying ways to make this connecting road safe, like adding in traffic calming devices or even a roundabout to eventually open Jefferlin Road to the public. Reporting in Hilliard, Carla Rogner, 10 TV News.
As the war in Ukraine rages on, many refugees who've been temporarily calling Central Ohio home have decided to plant roots and make the move permanent. There's an area in Pleasant Township that is now working to establish a little Ukrainian village. 10 TV's Bryn Caswell went there to find out more.
In 2018, Grace Evangelical Church purchased the former Oakhurst Country Club, not knowing what would happen 4 years later.
I've got it for a good price, 105 acres.
Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the church and Deacon Taras Yanitsky have helped over 500 Ukrainian families seek refuge in Central Ohio. These families with young children needed space for them to learn and play, but above all, feel safe in a new country.
And it's really a breath of fresh air for the parents. Just have a safe refuge places, drop the kids off. Language is spoken, it's safe.
The former clubhouse was renovated into an accredited charter school where 130 4th through 8th graders are taught year-round. There's a community garden, fields and courts for Ukrainian youth sports, and even a full kitchen.
We have a fellowship center inside the building there.
Assistant Principal Ivan Lavershin says dance and language classes are also held at Grace Fellowship Center.
It's not only just the school here or church here that we gather here, but it is a community center.
Compared to cities like Cleveland, where Slavs have historically flocked to over the years, Ivan feels there's more opportunity for growth in cities surrounding Columbus. Think Galloway, Pleasant Township, and even Grove City. He feels that a lot of the real estate for new businesses in Cleveland is already taken up. But here, he believes the opportunity remains wide open.
Here you buy something new, you build something new. Columbus is growing. Even just look at 270 and everything outside. So there is more opportunity to start a business here in Columbus area. I believe there will be even restaurants, Ukrainian type of restaurants here, stores, shopping centers, or something along those lines. Anything that could help the society, anything that could help the community.
The 165-acre former golf course became a safe haven for the Ukrainian community.
So we have huge plans for this still to kind of, like I said, to be used all around the year.
And while they want the war to end, GEC is prepared to accept more refugees at any time.
And this was a blessing that fell in our lap. We have big plans to keep developing, and we'll see what goes from here.
In Pleasant Township, Bryn Caswell, 10 TV News.
Bryn, thank you very much. And as more people move into the region, the city of Columbus is stepping up to support small businesses downtown. This week, Columbus City Council approved $500,000 for the Ground Floor Growth Initiative. It's part of a broader plan to help revitalize the downtown area and fill up any empty spaces.
Excited about the investment that we're making in downtown, in women, minority, and local-owned businesses to be able to ensure that they are showcased in downtown's resurgence.
City leaders say this funding will keep the program alive and help even more entrepreneurs establish their presence downtown.
Excited about the Ground Floor Growth Initiative and all the work that is being done there. We just had a chance to cut a ribbon on our third business that opened. It is a women-owned clothing store, Evolvery, downtown on High Street. And we have two more businesses from Phase 1 that will be opening here in April and then later right before the summer.
The Ground Floor Growth Initiative wasn't the only project discussed at this week's Columbus City Council meeting. If you've stayed at a hotel, visited a museum, or caught a game in Columbus, you've probably noticed a 5% tax on tickets or rooms. Council expects nearly $25 million of those dollars to go toward local arts. Here's what Councilman Nick Bankston said about it this week.
When you see that fee there, that's not a junk fee. That is going right back to the people here in our community and invested right back into our artists and creative community.
The money also helps fund museums, public art projects, and grants for individual artists contributing to the city's cultural and economic growth. And remember, we want to hear from you. If you have questions related to Central Ohio's rapid growth, or maybe you want us to look into something for you, you can text us your questions and concerns to 614-460-3345. And don't forget, we also have our 10 TV Plus original, Welcome to Boomtown. You'll see how our stories seek solutions for everyone in Central Ohio. Thanks for watching This Week in Boomtown. I'm Doug Petcash. Have a great day.